Saudi Arabia's aerial bombardment is still claiming civilian lives. Latest figures show that nearly 109 civilians were killed in two separate attacks on December 26th. According to reports, one of the strikes hit a crowded local market in Tai's southwest of the country. The second attack is said to have hit a farm in Hudaydah province.
What we have here in the U.S. alongside the European allies, as well as obviously the Saudi allies, is we have a true blind media when it comes to Yemen.
Women and children were also among the dead. The huge loss of civilian lives in the airstrikes has prompted Jamie McGoldrick, the UN's humanitarian coordinator for Yemen, to harshly criticize the Saudi-led coalition of complete disregard for human lives.
We're deeply concerned by the recent surge in civilian casualties in Yemen as a result of intensified airstrikes by the Saudi-led coalition.
These incidents prove the complete disregard for human lives that all parties, including the Saudi-led coalition, continue to show in this absurd war that has only resulted in the destruction of the country and the incommensurate suffering of its people.
In my opinion, to be able to convince Saudi Arabia, the Emirates, and the different parties to the conflict that it's in the interest of everybody to stop this war. This war is causing, in my opinion, terrible suffering to the Yemen people, but this war is also detrimental, in my opinion, to the interests of Saudi Arabia or the Emirates.
The deadly war against Yemen and its people began in March 2015. The U.S. gave Saudi Arabia the green light to go ahead with the onslaught. Saudi Arabia thought that it could finish off the Ansarullah fighters and their allies in a few weeks.
Well, once again, the U.S., UK, France, and even Israel are providing the weapons and the intelligence and other logistics, as well as strategic type of consulting that goes alongside with this. There are military consultants that work alongside the Saudis.
But over 2 years have passed since the conflict began, and nothing has been achieved. Saudi Arabia has sustained heavy losses also. Some reports indicate that thousands of mortar shells and rockets have been fired at Saudi military bases, killing hundreds of soldiers. Dozens of Saudi tanks and military vehicles have also been destroyed.
So the fact is that you are seeing a tremendous amount of weaponry coming from the United States just raining down on Yemen and on the Houthi people, the people of Yemen and the Houthi rebels that are basically fighting for their sovereignty.
The war in Yemen has reached a critical point. Over 14,000 people have been killed. Famine threatens nearly a quarter of Yemen's 27 million people. Diseases like malaria have infected thousands of people. Saudi Arabia is under pressure to lift its siege.
So the Americans are very much complicit in this proxy war that they've directly armed with billions of dollars. The largest arms deals that the United States have done recently have been with Saudi Arabia.
The French President Emmanuel Macron has called on Riyadh to end the siege. News have also emerged that the U.S. is conducting airstrikes in Yemen to allegedly kill terrorists there.
When in fact, unfortunately, the U.S. is working alongside Saudi Arabia to bomb on a regular basis. I mean, there was one day in November of 2017 that over 30 targets were bombed.
This complicated situation needs an international response to punish the real perpetrators of this man-made crisis.